Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the Collider Games podcast. My name's Tzeng. I'm here with
Josh Weyers.
Yes, and it is 2020 now.
That's
This is
right.
our first episode of the new year. We haven't had an episode in 2-3 weeks now.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of a break there.
Yeah, it was. Surprisingly, during this break and time off,
You went to Vegas, didn't you?
I did. I did not play much games. I had planned. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna.
This is coming from the person always complaining about not having time to play video games. Gets all the time in the world. I need to breathe. I need to chill.
It's not even that. It's just like you end up doing a bunch of other stuff, especially.
What's the holidays? You know?
And you got family stuff. You got my significant other stuff. You know what I mean? Like.
And you guys went to Vegas, yeah.
Well,
It must have been really busy, though.
I only went to Vegas for 2 days, you know. But, traveling there, going there, you know. But, yeah, so I didn't get to, go play as many games as I wanted.
As you would have wanted to, yeah. I got really into The Witcher 3 again.
Okay.
Since I last saw you, it was bad. It was like I almost shut myself in my room every day because I watched the series and then it put me back onto it. I was like, I need to get back into this
apparently
game.
more people are playing it now than when it came out.
That's crazy.
On
That must
Steam.
be great for sales as well because I bought the DLC. I was like, I'm getting back into this with the DLC now. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is those things. It's why in the 80s they made cartoons of toys. They were toys first, Transformers, G.I. Joe. They made cartoons to sell the toys. And they didn't make this to sell games, but it was
working.
It's a byproduct. And remember, it's based on the book, but the game is benefiting now.
Oh, for sure. I mean, people they want to be the closest thing you're going to get to being Geralt is playing the game, you know?
Yeah. So, how was your besides playing Witcher 3?
It was wonderful. I didn't really do anything for New Year's, mainly because I did a lot on Christmas, and I was still kind of tired by New Year's. I'm from South Africa, so my family are there. So I spent my Christmas with my friends, and we got a little raunchy. So I had to recover for a couple days after that. But no, it was good. I played a lot of The Witcher, and I'm trying to think if I played anything else. For the most part. Yes, one of my favorite games ever came to console without me knowing. I had it on PC. It's called Risk of Rain 2. The original came out in 2012. It is the most beautiful indie game of all time. And it's basically a 2D roguelike game. And they decided, we're not going to, for the sequel, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to give you the exact same game, but we're going to make it 3D. And it works so well. So I've been spending a lot of time on that. I got it on sale for $20. Invested. Oh, yes, Devil May Cry 5. I wish Caboose was here. I finally played it. That's freaking amazing. Devil May Cry 5 is like the epitome of badass cutscenes.
I think Caboose's favorite game of last year.
It was his favorite game and I completely see why. And it's also just the graphics are great. There's an option. I got the deluxe edition, so I went with the option where every now and then the cutscenes are live action, so you can see the actual live action cutscenes, and it's on. Dude, it's such a good game.
We did an unboxing of that. That's on the channel of the deluxe edition that had the statue and everything.
That must have been sick, yeah.
Or actually, no, that one didn't have the statue. I'm a mistake. The Resident Evil had the statue. The other one had what was it?
Probably a figurine of Dante or someone.
No.
Or
The Winnebago, the motorhome.
Yeah.
I'm not obviously
with
I'm
Devil
not
May Cry on the
yeah,
side.
yeah.
No, I got you. Oh no, that was so going back, I know there's a game from last year bringing it up, but man, Devil May Cry is fun. It is fun, yeah.
So now that it is the new year, our main topic today is the upcoming 2020 video games.
January is quite a busy year for
the
that.
big ones, what we're expecting, which one's going to deliver, which one we're the most anticipated. I mean, we have a list of semi-release dates. I wrote down a list of the kind of the big ones. I mean, the first two, one's in January, one's in February. They might not be big to other people, but for the VR platforms, they are. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, which actually me and Dorian had done a demo late last year, and it was fun. It was very cool, very interactive, it's sandboxy story type, just my style of type of game,
Perfect, yeah.
That's coming out on January 23rd. There's some good buzz about that. People are looking forward to it.
Is that going to be the first Walking Dead VR game or VR experience?
No. They had another one. They did like a kind of a more like a swarm shooter.
I would say like a horde mode.
Yeah, swarm
sense,
shooter type. where this is more up my alley, where it's like RPG elements, story elements.
You want to survive. I want to go. I want to go looking around for things to like.
It's set in New Orleans, and you go around, and like everything. The story is that they've made it so there was like floods of water, and now everything's kind of like a bunch of mini islands. So you like go from island to island, like little islands.
That kind of keeps everything contained in like different ways, and you can have different levels and difficulties. I like that. That's a smart idea.
So looking forward to that. Iron Man VR, February 20th on PSVR.
I will say, before we skip over January, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot has been doing great in pre-sales. Like, fantastic. Their marketing plan, they'd released this beautiful marketing this trailer. It's not really a trailer. It's an advertisement for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. It barely shows the game, but it shows like the life of like every young Japanese boy growing up trying to do the Kamehameha. And it's like, it gets you, because every single person who's watched Dragon Ball Z or is a fan, at some point in time in your life, you have tried to do a Kamehameha. You tried the hardest to go Super Saiyan. And they show these clips of these kids doing it. And like, it's just, it really like, it grabbed my attention. And yeah, I think it's doing amazing in pre-sales. It's not an open world game, but it has big open world levels, a lot like Outer Worlds, for example, or Mass Effect. But it's looking fantastic. It's taking place from Dragon Ball Z Episode 1 all the way up until Dragon Ball Super, the Beerus arc, I believe, which is a lot to cover. Like, that's like 300, maybe 350 episodes. I'm guesstimating here, but a lot to cover, which is nice. And it's not just you're not just Goku, because at some certain points in time, Goku dies. No, the TV show is almost 20 years old, so no spoilers. But so when he dies, you play the next person. It kind of follows the exact story of Dragon Ball Z. I'm really excited for it. It has some great gameplay mechanics. And
what kind of style of game is it?
It's a lot like Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse in terms of the combat, except now there's an open world RPG aspect to it where you can fly around. There's side quests. You can talk to people. There's fishing, because every game has to have a fishing mechanic now. Goku uses his own tail to fish with, and then everyone else has a fishing rod. But loads of mini. People were complaining about the combat being too easy. Everyone who had got to actually play the game, but then they added multiple opponents, and as soon as you're fighting more than one person, you actually have to strategize, and the game becomes more fun. Then fighting one person at a time, you can just keep blasting with Ki Blast. He's dead. But yeah, Monster Hunter World is coming out on PC, which the Iceborne DLC, which was amazing. If you have the money for it, it is a very expensive DLC. It's basically the same price as the base game, but it's a whole world on its own. I highly recommend it. If anybody's playing Monster Hunter World and they haven't played Iceborne yet, get on that. It's fun.
But if the cost is as much as a game, is it standalone, or do you have to own the previous version?
I believe you have to own the previous one, but it's about as much content as like the first one. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Then like I mentioned, Iron Man VR. That's a PSVR exclusive.
That's going to be kind of cool, I think.
Yeah. I didn't get to play it, but Dorian got to demo it, and he said it was a lot of fun. I think that's one of those, could be a system seller for the PSVR. I know that.
Sure. Well, it's going to be more integrated in PS5 as well, so it'll be.
Yeah, like Sony is like, I think they're reducing the amount of stuff you need to use with PSVR.
Well,
you still need the headset, but and everything.
But all the extra boxes and stuff, that's going to be integrated into the PS5. Yeah.
So
I know like I said, glancing over January, but it's just because I have a couple of favorites there. The last to bring up for January is Warcraft 3 Reforged. I am very excited about Warcraft 3 Reforged because Warcraft 3 is the game that I spent the most amount of time my entire life on in terms of playing games.
StarCraft is for me.
Friends and landing and stuff.
StarCraft for me.
You can play Warcraft 3 Reforged. Your friends don't have to have Warcraft 3 Reforged. They can play on the original Warcraft 3, and you guys can play together.
Interesting.
They just won't have the updated texture packs.
Yeah.
So I think that was a smart move on their half. Similar with Overwatch 2 being allowed to play with original Overwatch players. Yeah. It's a good strategy.
What's the pricing on that, on Reforged?
If they go anything more than $30, then they're out of their freaking mind. But I honestly, I think I heard something that it was going to be cheap. Like it's a reskin. I think it's only going to be like $15 or $20 or something.
That makes more sense, right? Like $20 for a game, existing game, old game, just with new graphics.
There's no new engine because, like I said, it works with the old game too. It's just new texture packs, and they look nice. They look good, and I think new cutscenes for the story. Yeah.
Anything else in February you're looking at?
I
Street
don't
Fighter
know.
5 Champion Edition.
A couple of these things I never heard of. Like I love the Darksiders series, but I didn't hear about this Darksiders Genesis. I'm going to assume it's probably a bundle with all three games. The third game came out 2019, but I don't know when it came out, but people just didn't buy it. I got it as a free game for PS Plus. It was a fantastic game, but I think there was no marketing around it. They marketed this game years before it came out, and in the year the game came out, I didn't see any marketing for Darksiders 3. So who knows? Maybe the bundle's trying to recuperate their loss on that.
Yeah, and March, there's a game that you probably are excited to see.
Oh, you better
Final
believe it.
Fantasy VII, the remake.
Probably
March 3rd.
Probably part 1.
Huh? Part 1?
Because I know that they want to do it in parts, so it's probably just part 1. But yeah, no, I'm excited for that. And then also, in going back real quick to February, we have the One Punch Man game coming out, which I am at odds and ends with because that's a character that destroys everyone in one punch.
So how do you play a game? It's like the Superman conundrum,
So this
right?
is how they've decided to go about this. They have a whole roster of other fighters for you to use, right? It's a fighting game.
Okay.
And you have basically, if you have Saitama, One Punch Man, on your team, there's a buffer. You can only use him, I think, at a certain point in time in the game. Like there's a counter where you can see a little animation of him running, and there's like a countdown timer. And the more moves you do and the more combos you do, that timer gets less. And then when the timer's down, you can finally use him as a character. And then he one punches anybody. I don't know how that's going to work for competitive reasons.
Yeah.
It'll be fun, but it's not going to be competitive.
Yeah.
March, we have Ori and the Will of Wisps,
Yeah.
which is a great indie game if you've played any of those. We also have Neo 2. I played the first Neo recently. I didn't play it when it came out, but once again, beautiful Souls-like game. And yeah, the story was fantastic. So I see Neo 2 doing quite well, but I haven't seen much marketing about it recently. You know what I mean? Which has been interesting.
And then we have Doom Eternal coming out March 20th, which originally was supposed to come out in November of last year. They pushed it back. We all kind of said, you know what? If they need the time,
we're okay with that.
Yeah, it's fine. We already had a very crowded holiday season,
crowded year as well. And also, I think people saw how good Doom was. Like, I love that Doom so much. It's like I'm more than happy to wait. As long as they can give me the same kind of experience I had with the previous Doom, I'm happy. Persona 5, one of my favorite games of all time, is getting the Royale edition, which is Persona 5 Royale. Not too sure what to expect there, but Persona 5 is my favorite JRPG of all time, right next to Final Fantasy X and Chrono Trigger.
And now this one is a big one, but
do you really think they're going to be able to get it out?
That's the thing. Is Half-Life Alyx is supposed to be going in March. They don't have a release date. They just said March. I don't know. A lot of people were speculating that it will not be ready by March.
I don't think it's going to be ready until the end of the year, man.
I know Norm from Tested went up to Valve and actually played
tried out the Valve Index.
Yeah, he played a few hours of it, so he got so obviously it's at least in that form.
It's at the stage where they can show it off to other people, which is fantastic news.
But I mean, if this is supposed to be, I think, what'd they say about a 20 to 30 hour game? They said similar to the original Half-Life 2. I don't know.
I guess it's doable, but it's that's still a very small time frame. I mean, it's also one of those games where it's if it gets pushed back, I don't think much people are going to care because it's it's been how long since Half-Life 2?
Yeah.
Half-Life 2 Episode 2?
Also, it might give people more time to get a VR system.
And
you don't need the Valve Index, but the Valve Index.
It was designed for that. It would be preferable
exactly.
To have that,
and those sold out last year because as soon as they announced Half-Life Alyx,
pre-order
sold out. I mean, it was actually, people don't know, it was actually quite a great year for for VR last year because the Quest was also sold out during Christmas.
That makes sense. I mean? I was telling everyone to get that. I was like, if you have the money to throw down for a Quest, get it.
Yeah.
It is the best thing ever. It doesn't matter what your age is, what your demo. It doesn't even matter if you like video games or not. It's such a great experience, especially the whole untethered feeling.
Yeah.
So
Half-Life Alyx March. If I had to put money on it, I'll say it gets delayed.
I'm going to put money on it too and say it's going to get delayed. I think I might even go as far as to say it's going to get delayed twice because I think they're going to delay it, and I think they're only going to delay it by a month, and then they're going to shoot themselves in the foot and delay it again.
Interesting.
That's at least if I was.
But
But then again, I've always been horrible at gambling, so.
I mean, people are really looking forward to it because they want to see. A lot of people who aren't into VR are going to get VR just to play this game, right?
I know we covered the specs last time. The minimum specs you would need.
Very high.
It's insane still. So it's
I think a 1080 is recommended.
Yeah, as
a
Ryzen 5 was recommended as well.
Yeah, it was just very
those aren't cheap.
Yeah, It's definitely. I mean, if you look at the trailer, it looks fantastic.
So it makes
especially
sense,
for
yeah.
VR, because VR games are notoriously, because you have to double up on the images, right?
Exactly,
so you have to process double what a
You
normal
either have to
game is.
limit your resources by confining yourself to a
Yes.
horde type situation, or you have to cut corners.
Yeah.
That's why previously I've seen like these big RPG VR games are usually like cartoony graphics for that exact reason.
But this one, the graphics look very good.
It does, man.
So
It's
I'm,
phenomenal.
people are just waiting to see how they, the first Half-Life revolutionized the FPS genre. Half-Life 2 did when it came out, and now they're hoping to revolutionize the VR.
Which would be fantastic.
And we'll see what kind of gameplay mechanics they implement, especially with the index. But yeah, March. That's very optimistic. Unless they've been, I know they've been working in secret, but I just don't know how polished it is. But definitely really looking forward to that. April, we've got the Resident Evil 3 remake,
That's gonna do so good.
Well, especially because the second one was so well received. Yeah. One, not just sales wise, but two, critically. Like, it wasn't like, they just reskinned the game. They actually changed up the game so it was more modern, like the way you move,
they had to make like certain adjustments to make it a little bit better, which makes sense to me. Like for instance, when Borderlands 3 came out, Borderlands 2 was so long ago, they had to update a couple things like pinging. Pinging is now a thing in most like first-person shooters, so they had to add that. They had to add sliding. Everyone's used to sliding as a way to get around. So it makes sense when you update a game like that. I just know I've seen in the comment section people always complain we never talk about any kind of Nintendo stuff. So going back to March, new Animal Crossing games coming out. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to say that real quick. But yeah, April's a big month, man. Resident Evil 3 and then also Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
That's a good
Well, that's a huge one. I mean, when you think about the two biggest games coming out next year, you're talking about Cyberpunk 2077 and Last of Us Part 2.
Exactly, yeah. And then for me, I'd say on the same bigness scale as maybe the Final Fantasy VII, just because that has a big following as well. Yeah. So I know it's going to sell
That's a big game. I mean, obviously, people are looking forward to some other games as well. I mean, we have Halo Infinite, Marvel's Avenger. You know what I mean?
One of the things that everyone's really excited for in April, funny enough, is Minecraft Dungeons, which I guess, funny enough, someone made the argument the other day that I couldn't argue against, which is that Minecraft was the game of the 2010s, of that decade. I was like, kind of. I mean, in terms of like killing it, like it was consistent the entire time.
Yeah,
and last year was like the biggest year for Minecraft. Minecraft Dungeons is people are expecting an RPG-like mode, but I've been doing a bit of research on Minecraft Dungeons, and they're not adding much, to be honest, really. But yeah.
And then we get to May, Marvel's Avengers, May 15th.
Dude, May's got some two big games there,
yeah. Wasteland 3, The Last of Us Part 2, which May 29th, which, it was delayed from, I think originally they were targeting, February?
Yeah, February was the original release date.
Like I said, just gives me more time to finish
I'm excited for Marvel's Avengers, just because...
I am too.
And I say this because I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but usually when we see, when they show us, video games before they're ready, they're like, this is what it looks like, and they'll give us a little thing, be like, this is not in-game footage or whatever, and, as the more content comes out, the quality gets lowered. Whereas with Marvel's Avengers, I felt the opposite way. The first time I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, this is sick. But I was like, the character models don't look so good. But then they released the next trailer, and it's like, the character models look sick now. It's like, you can see the progression of detail going
Not only
up as
that,
they release it.
a lot of the complaints were about with the cutscenes. And I agree. Some of them looked a bit wonky. The problem is when you play the game, you don't really see, you see them from the back, right? So, the costume, Captain America's outfit, right? Kind of looks a little clunky in the cutscenes. But when you play him, you're from the third-person perspective.
Seeing it, yeah.
No, you're not seeing any of it. It looks fine, right?
I would say, that was my issue with when they showed Thor, was the things that are on his chest, they looked horrible the first time I saw them. Then the next gameplay footage they brought out, they looked amazing.
But, people were claiming about the face models and stuff, and that they did improve those as well.
So
but
I guess it was good they complained in a way,
It was just funny also, I think I mentioned this before, seeing the reaction at E3 and then seeing the reaction at Comic-Con, which was totally different. E3, everyone was blah, 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 oh my God, this looks like a disaster.
Everyone, it was very mixed reactions at E3.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then at Comic-Con, I was in Hall H, and everyone was loving it. And people weren't excited at first because they were like, they did one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, this is all the Marvel video games, right? So they talked about Ultimate Alliance, they talked about like some
Spider-Man,
mobile games,
which
blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, they ended with Avengers, and then people started like getting hyped for it. Like, and you know, you have to understand most of this audience there, a lot of them
they're
are not,
already huge Marvel fans. At
they're already
Comic-Con,
huge Marvel fans, and they're more swayed towards
comics
versus video games,
yeah.
you know, and they seemed excited for it. So I think that's going to do better than
it's going to get a lot more people to start gaming as well, for sure. You know, because Marvel is such an international thing right now. You know what I mean? A lot of people. I feel like a lot of people who are Marvel fans, which is so many, are now going to get into gaming because of this game because they want to try it out. You know?
Like Koi here at Collider, who hosts the comic book shopping.
Man, I know. I love that. I love that show.
So he stopped playing games for a long, long time. But when Spider-Man came out, he bought the PS4 Spider-Man edition. You know what I mean?
I actually know that one.
Yeah.
That's that was such a good game though as well. Like so well played.
Yeah. So and then Last of Us Part 2, May 29th. That's going to be a big one. Like I said, I got to catch up on finishing that.
So quarter one, we actually have a game coming out that is near and dear to my heart, and I'm very excited about it. Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York.
See, the thing is quarter one, because so there's a quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. These are games that they know in what quarter they're coming out, but they don't have actual release dates. Quarter one is now. So I don't understand. It's like now until I'm thinking March or April. Yeah, it should be March. You should know if your game's coming out, you know.
By this point in time, I agree.
Yeah.
My other question is, I see System Shock here. Is that going to be a remake, or is that
I don't know.
A prequel? Is it a very? I love the System Shock series, and I think it's got to be a remake because there's no other words there. We've also got Session coming out, which is a skateboarding game that people have been excited for years, up until we saw gameplay, and now everybody
it's remastered. The System Shock is remastered.
Okay, hell yeah, that makes sense. I think that's gonna sell well if they do a good job with that, because that was a fantastic game. Session, I think Session's gonna bomb. I think it's gonna bomb. I think the company's gonna lose money on it. It's just. Everyone's so excited for a skateboarding game because we haven't had one in literally since the PS3, since Skate 3. So since this whole generation, we haven't had a skateboarding game. This entire generation of consoles. So people are like, we want to see this game get made, and everyone's like, hell yeah, get the funding. It was like crowdfunded at a certain point. But then we saw gameplay like a couple months ago, and it was just not looking good, man.
It's just funny how how these gaming trends are. Like, remember Tony Hawk was like huge, like everyone was playing that. Remember when Guitar Hero and Rock Band were
it's those trends, but those are also like societal trends because like rock was more popular back then. Then I remember like they tried to change it up. They're like, you know what, people aren't really listening to alternative music anymore. Let's make DJ Hero. Like they try to keep chasing that money.
Well, now Beat Saber is the big thing, right?
And how do you even like try to top Beat Saber? It's fantastic.
But who knows?
But talking about skating games, I do know that there is going to be another skateboarding game in the works where I don't know the name of it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be Skate 4, but they got a lot of the developers from Skate 3, and they're making another skate game is what I heard. So probably Skate 4. That'll be good because they got it right the first 3 times, so I'd like to see that.
Q2, we've got Battletoads. If you remember Battletoads, they're making like a updated 2D animated style. I think Streets of Rage 4, which is coming out also that same quarter.
I actually remember
the same.
I played Streets of Rage.
I was a huge Streets of Rage fan.
I played
1
that way
and 2.
more. I only know Battletoads because of the memes. I know because wasn't Battletoads like known for being one of the worst like games of that era, or difficult?
No, I think more difficult, not bad. I think people actually quite liked it, but it was basically Battletoads was basically a rip off of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, let's say
they're like,
the character models scare me, man.
They're like, let's just take something, instead of turtles, it's toads, and then
that's not copyrighted.
No, I mean it's not. So now they're having these kind of remastered, remade, sequel type. I like that they're keeping them side scroller, 2D, to capture, right? Because people were playing these, it's for nostalgic purposes,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
No one's gonna come out and be like, "Man, Battletoads was the best game of the year." You know what I mean? Of the year. Disintegration, which we'll be talking about in a little bit, which is interesting.
Dying Light 2, that's gonna be fantastic as well. And then Kerbal Space Program 2, which I haven't heard much about, but I love the first one. It was it's one of those games where you have to learn a lot as well as you're playing. Like I had to do a lot of tutorials before I built my first spaceship, but it was I like this kind of games too because you can take your time with it. I had a good lengthy discussion the other day about Minecraft, funny enough, as to what its real appeal is and why does it appeal to, I'd say, almost every generation. It's because there is no goal. It's very peaceful. Like every time I play Minecraft, I'm not trying to do something. I'm just like doing whatever and I'm relaxing, and I like that. Just wanted to bring that up. Not that has to do with anything we're talking about, but yeah. There's a couple other games coming out in Q2 that I haven't heard much about. Sports Story, I don't know much about that, nor do I know much about Grounded. I've heard of Empire of Sin, though.
Q3, Death Stranding's coming on PC.
Probably going to look fantastic.
Yes. And then we have...
Planet Coaster, Console Edition.
Yeah.
That's literally there just for the PSVR, I guarantee you. People just want to ride roller coasters in VR.
Tell Me Why is coming out sometime in Q3.
That's from, is that from the people who did Life is Strange?
Yes.
Yes, that looks good.
And yeah, I think I
haven't heard much about this Werewolf the Apocalypse game either, which is coming out Q3.
Yeah. Let's see what else is coming out. We've got Q4, the big one is Halo Infinite.
Damn straight.
Which is, when the Xbox Series X is coming out. I know we're talking about this in our next topic about PS5, but it's not been confirmed yet that it's coming out holiday 2020.
I would say they still haven't, but the reason everyone's assuming is because it's like, I guess they kind of have to.
I mean, at CS they announced some stuff.
Well, hold up. Actually, we saw the trailer for the launch. We saw the launch titles coming out on the PS5, and
true.
Those are coming out at the end of this year. So PS5 has to be out by the time those games come out.
We're assuming it's coming out. I mean, I feel like, consoles, they always launch them in the holidays because they are pricey, right? So the only time the kids, parents can get them for their kids or parents or adults buy them as gifts to themselves is when it's Christmas. They're like, I got to buy a gift for myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To justify it versus like dropping it in the middle of whenever.
I mean, it's also one of those things where, if they look at the PS2 dominated the Xbox because the Xbox came out months after the PS2. That's the reason why the PS2 dominated around that era. They'd be silly. They would honestly PlayStation would be a little silly to not release it at the end of this year because you have to meet your competitor. You know what I mean? And Xbox is coming in strong with all the studios they bought. Like I've never been much of an Xbox guy, but I'm looking at the Xbox, the next Xbox, just because all my favorite studios were bought by them. That's kind of forcing me.
So Halo Infinite. Well, let's go into
the no official window ones.
Yeah, I mean, do you see anything in there? I mean, with the Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga, which
the Total War saga, Troy. If anybody I love the Total War series, but those are more PC.
Gods and Monsters.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah. Like because I mean, I know some people are like, it's a Breath of the Wild rip-off,
it is. I mean, they pushed it back too.
Yeah, but it's like I don't care if it's really a rip-off. I mean, think about it. Like there are Minecraft came out and it created that genre. I think. I mean, even though Legend of Zelda isn't a new genre, but Breath of the Wild was almost like a whole new type of game. And I see a lot of companies are going to be doing that in the future.
Watch Dogs Legion, Yakuza Like a Dragon.
No More Heroes 3, which was announced at the Game Awards. A new Oddworld game. No ways! One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. Huh, sorry, I didn't even know about that. I'm so excited. I loved the One Piece Pirate Warriors series was they took the Dynasty Warriors game and they just literally reskinned it with One Piece characters. I freaking loved it.
Those Dynasty Warriors games are addicting, man.
They are.
When you play them,
slaughtering.
It's the same thing over and over.
It's so satisfying.
It's repetitive, but it's like but it's so much fun.
That's how I feel about Diablo 3, which is why I still play to this day. I'm doing the same thing I've done 100 times over, but when you're just sitting there, just like slaughtering hundreds of people with like a powerful beam. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's great. You send all your warriors and they're all fighting too, and then you're fighting alongside them, but you're more badass, and then you commandeer What are you looking at?
They're remaking SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here, 2020, year of the remakes. God bless America. We're also getting a sequel to Psychonauts. That's amazing. I know the Psychonauts did a VR experience a while ago for the PSVR, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. Loved Psychonauts. Great game. So very excited to see a sequel for that. And then, Vampire the Masquerade. Oh, sorry. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is the one I'm more excited for. Because Vampire the Masquerade has released another game on PC recently, but it's more like a text-based kind of game. So I'm more excited for the actual Bloodlines 2, which is the RPG. That's going to be exciting. And then, Xenoblade Chronicles, the Definitive Edition, which will be great as well. Yeah, dude, exciting year. I can't believe they're remaking the SpongeBob SquarePants game. And then I see Rust on the list here, too.
Yeah, which is weird. It's
been out for ages.
Yeah,
unless, do you think it's like a console? No, hasn't it been on, I think it's been on console for a while as well. Or maybe it's finally out of beta. I'm not sure. I played Rust like back in 2012, man. Like 2013. Like Little Nightmares 2. That's gonna be fun. That'll be cool. Destroy All Humans. I believe that's a remake.
Rust is coming to Xbox and PlayStation 2020.
Okay, so it's gonna be on console then. That's gonna be fun. I do thoroughly enjoy that game. It's just cool playing around, trolling people. Yeah, dude. This is the year. This is a good year for remakes, man. Honestly, Final Fantasy VII, it's SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. What was the other? System Shock, Resident Evil, Warcraft. So many amazing remakes. I'm so excited. And then also like the fact that they're bringing sequels to games that are like super old as well. I'm happy about. No More Heroes 3 is great. I hope that they release No More Heroes 1 and 2 on like. I guess not, because no More Heroes it really relied on the Wii controller to use your sword, but I wonder if they can somehow use that on the Switch. Because I hope so, because it's like you should play No More Heroes 1 and 2 before you play 3. I think just so you kind of get that world and how crazy it is. Yeah, good year for video games.
Yeah, last year was not an off year, but a quieter year, right?
They got busy towards the end, but
it did, but it still wasn't as big as the year before, and it's not going to be as big as this year, especially with these new consoles coming out. Our next story, we'll be talking about the PS5 and Xbox Series X in a little bit, but let's talk about this briefly. There's not too much to say about this, but
great marketing idea.
Yeah, I mean, Warner Brothers Games Montreal, they updated their website with a mysterious circle, like basically these symbols that are getting fleshed out that obviously are from the Batman universe.
Yeah.
People are looking at them going, it's been long rumored that they're going to use the Court of Owls storyline from Batman as the basis for this game. And yeah, they just slowly teasing out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for anybody who doesn't really know what we're talking about, it's essentially this like big circular logo with a bunch of smaller circles inside it, and slowly and surely they're gonna be filling in those little small circles with more hints as to what we're gonna be getting.
Yes.
We've got 2 circles so far, and this is not a new idea either. Like Blizzard is notorious for doing this in the early 2000s with their website. Where, for instance, when they announced StarCraft 2, there was that like they kept changing their website like slowly and surely. People were like, "What are they going to reveal? We don't know." And it was StarCraft 2, and people lost their minds, and it worked really well. So I see this working as well. Man, I was just talking today about my friend Havan about how good the Arkham series is, and it's about time we get another one. It really is.
Yeah. So definitely, people have been wanting to hear about it. Now it's funny because I think Caboose had mentioned this on Twitter,
dude,
he was making fun of fans because first they were like upset that how come they're not talking about it, they're not even teasing it, they're not even doing anything. It's so upsetting. They could at least just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Here we are, though.
And then now when they're giving it a little bit, it's like, why are they teasing us? Why don't we know more about it? It's like,
you can't keep them happy. But yeah, I've been following Caboose closely on Twitter regarding this, so it's a pity he can't be here with us today talking about this. This was it would have been a field trip for him.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. Court of Owls is an excellent storyline. I hope they can kind of build on top of that. All right, now we've got the Halo creators' next game, Disintegration. IGN had 32 minutes of gameplay on it.
Which is a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's an FPS, but it incorporates like different, almost like RTS,
I would say it even reminds me
third-person perspective elements, Destiny, Anthem.
Yeah.
Like it's got a whole bunch of
even
different
like, I would say
components.
even like some Overwatch elements almost. It's yeah. I don't know what to expect. I mean, first of all, it looks great. I like the actual world. Looking at the 32 minutes, I enjoy the world itself. Like I was looking at the characters and the gameplay and all that is quite sweet, but the world they built looks very like it looks full, which I like. You know what I mean? Like they designed a very good world there. I don't know how the world building itself is. Only time will tell for that. The combat looks good, looks interesting. Do we know if there's going to be multiplayer?
I'm not sure about it.
I
assume it would, but it's interesting because it's not a full-on like FPS. Your boots on the ground. I mean, that's why I said like even though it's a FPS, you have this almost third-person perspective, right? Because you're telling your squad to go.
If it was like a multiplayer fighting each other game, I don't see it doing that well.
Yeah.
Only because I relate it to other games like Hawken or games where you are inside of a mech suit, and like some people don't like the clunkiness. And looking at this, it's fun, but you do move a little slower. So
it's all about the strategy and tactics of your squad, and you're sending them here, and how are they going to attack these enemies and whatnot. Versus, so you kind of have this almost God's eye view. Then you can kind of hover down. You go on these things called grab cycles. It's interesting because the preview in IGN was very positive, talking about how seamless the gameplay was. Like they were worried about combining all these different kind of elements, and then they said it seemed actually pretty seamless and pretty smooth. But if you look on the comments at YouTube, comments on YouTube are not exactly indicative of everyone. However, a lot of people, obviously because you're just watching the video, you're not playing the game, but they were complaining about like how generic it looked, you know, how like they were like, oh, it looks like Halo and Anthem and blah, 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 and the characters don't seem that interesting. And I don't know, it's just one of those things where IGN had to cut out the cutscenes from the game, their gameplay, because
the beginning and outro, the intro and outros too, which makes sense because we don't want spoilers, you know?
Yeah. So I don't know. I think this is just more of a, let's just wait and, you know, get your hands on it.
Like you can't call something generic until you've played it, or
I think they're just talking about the look of it. You know, it definitely has a Halo, Anthem, Destiny look to it.
Like the feel, the world. I don't know, like why I'm thinking this, but the world itself almost gives me like a Titanfall 2 feel as well. You know, I like get very heavy Titanfall 2 vibes from this.
Yeah. So I don't know. You know, I'm gonna hold off like total judgment on it. Until
from what I've seen, I do like it, but it's also one of those games where I don't know. Like I liked Anthem when I first saw Anthem. So
when I played Anthem, I liked it. I just didn't get far enough into it.
And then there was like no one really to play with. There was also like a couple of glitches in the beginning when I tried Anthem. There was this one glitch where if you remove all your like armor except for I think one, like if you only have one set of like one piece of rare armor, if you remove everything else and just have that one set of rare armor, there was like a glitch where it would like feel like you have rare armor everywhere. So you had more armor by wearing less. It was like, anyways. Yeah, so it's one of those things where like it looks good, but we literally will not know. I think this is one of those games we do not know it's going to be good until day one that it comes out. Like I don't even know, like the reviewers playing it will like get an idea, you know what I mean? But I think we're really going to know more about this game day one coming from actual like just people, just your average everyday gamer. I want to know what they're going to think about this on day one.
Yeah.
Hopefully they learn from Anthem.
The next kind of topic, which I'm going to mix all these kind of together, we have. Like I mentioned, CS, we had Sony, the PS5 logo was revealed. Not a big deal. It looks like the PS4 logo.
I was like, it's been the same font since the PS2.
You know, comparison of specs between that and the Xbox Series X. We had the Xbox Series X processor revealed. We also have, this one's interesting, well, actually, here, let me see what the PS5 details. Basically, they're both going to have an optical drive. They're both going to play 4K Blu-rays.
So I know it's going to have backwards compatibility, but do we know if that's going to be with hard copies or digital? Like, well, actually, I would assume it's got to be hard copies. Like,
yeah, I think
it can take the discs. Which, if anybody's listening right now, do what I've already started doing. I've already started buying PS2 games off of eBay because I have a feeling that when the PS5 does come out, it's going to be real tricky for you guys to buy your favorite PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games online. Like right now, I picked up some of my favorite games for like $3 a pop. Whereas after this PlayStation 5 comes out, the prices of those PS2 games are going to go up. So if anybody is interested in like some nostalgia when the PS5 comes out, try to pick up those games now while they're still like $2 or $3 a pop.
They're both going to have SSDs, which is going to really help out a lot.
Hell of a lot, yeah.
Yeah. So far, the chipsets have not been revealed for the PS5. They have the chipsets for the Xbox Series X, which is the AMD Ryzen Zen 2. The GPU is AMD Navi-based GPU. Let's see. They haven't confirmed the RAM size.
They still haven't confirmed what it's actually going to look like. I mean, we've seen the dev kit, so we assume it's going to look like that, but it's probably going to look very different on release. Especially when you see how nice the Square Alexa looks, and by the Square Alexa I mean the new Xbox. Like, it's like if we all know, I know you and I know, but I'm hoping that the fans know as well what dev kit we're talking about. It's the one where it kind of looks like a VTech engine. Yeah. But yeah, like it's there. Like I guess when they look at what's coming, there's no way that they're going to release this like gnarly looking like engine looking like. I mean, it looks sweet and it looks cool, but it's like you got to think of consumers. You know what I mean? And well, I mean, Sony's smart as well. Sony's very smart because not just for their gaming in general, but like TVs, headphones. They're good at ergonomic designs. That's why I prefer the PSVR the way it feels over any other VR system I've used.
You know what's interesting too? I think it's a bigger deal in Japan, but like here with consoles, like after you set it up, you don't really care anymore.
And you don't look at it again unless you have to put a disc in.
And like, even when you put on the disc, it's like it's just another part of your entertainment system,
I was gonna say,
right?
Like, exactly, yeah.
It no longer, I mean, look, you don't want the consoles to be ugly, but at this point, like, it doesn't really matter much anymore.
True. Like, I mean, you got a good point. Like, I don't look at my PlayStation unless I'm moving it, putting a new disc in it, and then usually when I do that, it had been so long since I last saw it. I'm like, wow, let me try to get some of the dust off this thing.
Yeah.
And you're like in the grooves, getting all the dust out. Yeah. You got a very good point. It just makes me think of the Google Stadia. It makes me think of the Google Stadia's ad where they're like, "No more console," and they flick it off the corner like, "No one cares."
Yeah, exactly. What I mean by this is, once you set it up, it just kind of disappears and folds into
your living space.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
It no longer. Yeah, like I said, in Japan it matters more because there's less space over there. Yeah. So they really are like, oh, if this console's I remember the first Xbox was so huge.
It was a big thing.
And they were complaining about that. And,
wow,
obviously.
That was big, actually, now that I think about it. It was way bigger than the PS2. Yeah.
And, the Xbox obviously and still does not sell very well over in Japan. But, like, as far as America's concerned, you put it in, set it up, forget about it,
literally. Right? I mean, if you don't like the way it looks, put it in a cupboard. As long as the wireless connectivity still works, you're good.
Exactly. It's all about the games, the graphics, the playability, the user interface, all that other stuff that people are more concerned about. So I'm not really that hung up on the way the Xbox Series X looks, because people are...
I mean, I like it, but it's like it's a
PC. It's like a mini PC tower.
That's one of those things you can't if you can actively find something about the way it looks to hate, you're really going out of your way. It's just a cube.
Yeah.
How can you hate a cube? You can't really like it either, but it's like it does its job.
Yeah.
But like we said last time, I don't know if this has been confirmed or not, but the way that it looks it leads me to believe that it looks like something I can upgrade over time.
Yeah.
I want to switch out the graphics card.
I'm wondering if it's modular. It's pure speculation.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, like
that would be smart. Yeah. Also, I mean, I guess
just because of the name too, Series X, right? Like it feels like okay, the next one will have a whatever component, and you just swap it out.
If they went modular, you would think in the long run maybe they lose money. But if they're the ones selling the modular like pieces themselves, they're not really losing money. If anything, they're going to be making more money. They're like, you guys want the new graphics card for your new Series X? Let's do it. You know what I mean?
Now, the last thing about this particular subject is that Xbox Series X, while it's coming out the end of this year, I want to say next year, but it's already 2020, the end of this year, no exclusives for at least a year. No exclusives.
Really?
Remember, Halo Infinite is also coming out on Xbox One.
Huh.
So any game that is coming out on the Xbox Series X next year,
Gears already came out last year. You got a good point.
Can be played on the Xbox One.
I wonder what their launch titles are going to be.
So really, you're buying a new system
to play games you've already played as well.
Well, no, because some of them are new ones, right?
Yeah.
They're just saying that much like when I bought Dragon Age Inquisition, I bought it for the Xbox One instead of the 360. You just have the choice, right?
Yeah.
So really, what you're deciding to do is buying a system for the graphics, right? And to see like the new,
I mean, funny enough, going back to what I was talking about earlier, but I'm so excited because they're going to do it. If they don't do it, they're stupid. But they've already kind of done it because if you have like the PS Pro or like the Xbox One Elite or
Xbox One X,
the Xbox One X, if you have those, you get the options where you can up the graphics in The Witcher. So I was like, I just hope that they have like an option where they can extra up the graphics on the PS5 when it comes out, because oh man, like I love that game. And also my PlayStation sounds like a jet engine when I'm running The Witcher 3. That's like, it's like, please kill me now, stop playing this game, I'm dying. So that'll be cool. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure what Sony's plans are for exclusives either, if there are going to be any purely PS5 exclusives. I mean, it just makes sense, right? Because if you're a third-party studio and you make a game, the install base for these new systems isn't, even after a very successful launch, you're not making your money back. If you're putting AAA money into a game, right? Halo Infinite, for example, you're not making that money back selling to only Xbox Series X people. I mean, you're already limiting it, right? Because even at least third parties can go PlayStation and Xbox. So now you're talking about like a first-party game. You go down to Halo Infinite, you've got to sell on the previous platform that has way more installed base that may not want to upgrade to the Series X, at least not right in the beginning.
I mean, you got a good point as well. I feel like there's, especially when Halo Infinite does come out, I feel like there's going to be more Xbox sales for that exact reason. And it's like whoever's buying an Xbox for Halo Infinite isn't going to get the new Xbox. You know what I mean? That comes out a couple months later. I don't know.
So yeah, that's just an interesting way to look at it, because when it comes down to it, you're like, oh, well, we're not actually going to.
And this is something we've been talking about for a while. It's funny how it never actually crossed my mind. As soon as you said you're like, Halo Infinite comes out before the next Xbox, and we just spoke about it earlier, I was like, oh, you're right. What? Like, I know they're going to have exclusives, but man, a whole year after launch? That's insane. I wonder what's going to be on what they're going to have for launch, on launch.
I don't know. I mean, it just sounds like whatever games that are either already out or coming out around that time that will get next generation bump, I guess.
Yeah, get that bump in graphics.
Yeah, and that's kind of
I wonder if there's going to be any games that re-release themselves with more resources, like when GTA 5 came out on the PS3, and then the PS4 came out and GTA 5 came out again, but they added like more trees and more animals and just like a bit more resources because the console could handle that. So I'm wondering if there's going to be any games doing that,
I hope so.
Like that would be like, I would love to see Red Dead Redemption 2 on the next Xbox, but with like, just because they can now handle more resources, like put some more wildlife in there. Why not? And other examples like that, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
We all know we're going to get Skyrim on PS5, and it's going to happen. If you could get Skyrim on your phone, it would be there.
Yeah.
So we all know that's going to be remade probably.
Yeah. And also they're working on Skyrim 5? Is it 5?
The Elder Scrolls 6, yeah.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls. Sorry.
Well,
Skyrim was the...
Yeah. That was the place. But yeah, they only... I mean, look, they only showed us like the logo, and that was what, 2 E3s ago?
2 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 2. Yeah, we're going to get Starfield before then, and I'm excited for that. Which was I guess that's their version of Outer Worlds, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think
but they started on development before, or even around the same time, possibly. I think.
Yeah.
I think someone found out that Bethesda was making a space RPG, and they're like, must make one before.
Well, that's Outer Worlds 2 most likely will be an Xbox
exclusive. Which I was telling people today. I was like, I'm gonna have to, because I freaking love the Outer Worlds, so I'm gonna have to get an Xbox.
But that won't be coming out for
a while. Yeah.
And then remember they announced their next game, which was weirdly that
on the opposite direction.
No, it was that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids type game or whatever.
Oh yes, it was. It's an open world survival game where you're basically the size of an ant.
Yeah.
That kind of looked fun. I'm not gonna lie.
It's fun,
I like
but
that.
I mean,
it was
just that to me it was out of left field.
Like I think, I agree. It's very different. From
like if I was Xbox, I'd be like, your next game is Outer Worlds 2, and get working on it
no
right now.
questions asked.
Yeah,
They're like,
exactly.
oh, we're gonna make an open world survival game. You know the games that don't sell that well unless you're Minecraft.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's a lie. Ark did very well. I loved Ark.
All right, I think that's it for, it's the new year, not too much news. Do you have anything you want to talk about? I was just going to quickly
say what the free games were for January. On the PS Plus for January this month, we have the Nathan Drake collection. Go pick that up if you like Uncharted. And then we also have, what else is free this month? It was Uncharted and, Goat Simulator on the PS Plus, with PS Plus. So you can get Goat Simulator as well as the Nathan Drake Uncharted collection. And then for Xbox...
after the 16th, I know Telltale Batman.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Which I'm waiting for.
Batman, the Telltale series, Tekken 6, Lego Star Wars 2, and then Styx, which I never played. Or I think that's how you pronounce it. Because it's like the River Styx, Shards of Darkness. I never got to play that. It did look cool, though. But yeah, thought I'd bring that up. So a couple free games out there, for people to play.
Yeah. Just so many good games that are out or coming out.
I pre-ordered Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, so you can get a good review from me about that when that comes out.
All right, I think that's it for this episode. Josh, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at josh.toki, and you guys can find me on Twitch at josh_toki.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero or Instagram dennis.tzng. And so until next week, hopefully Dorian will be back. He's under the weather now, and we can talk some more stuff and see what else is going on in gaming. All right, until next time, see you guys later.
See you guys later.